This is the first time that Misty's going to have a saddle on. If she does really well with it, all we're going to do is put the saddle on, maybe take 2 or 3 steps. I am going to take her for a lap down there towards the flag, but then come back up here, and then we're going to put the saddle pad on, and then put the saddle on. So it might be just a short 10-15 minute if Misty does well. If not, then we're going to work the problem and not let the problem work us. So I'm just going to ask her to walk. I'm going to let her move her feet forward, or move her feet to the side. And we're just going to walk down here. Let her take everything in. We do have, so she just took a deep breath there and she just relaxed a little bit, so I really like that. So I'm going to reward her for that. Now I'm just going to give her some pressure to go to the right then. I'm not going to have her step over the ground poles or anything like that. I'm just going to have her move forward off the pressure. If she wants to, she can. She decided that she didn't want to follow me, so we're just going to have her come up here. And I'm going to take the process slow and put the saddle pad and saddle over. Like I said, this is the first time doing this, so we're going to take it in stride, address the problems that we may have. I'm going to ask her to load here. I am going to shut this gate, so in case she decides to step forward. Okay, so now I'm going to address this. She did try to follow me, which is fine, stand, and that's also my fault. I didn't tell her to stand, but I'm going to close the gate so that she doesn't want to go forward. Good girl, Misty. So I'm rewarding her verbally, and then I am going to pet her with it. So we typically don't have the saddle and saddle rack out here, but for this case, we are going to do that. So I'm just going to approach her slowly with the saddle pad. I'm just going to put it on her, and we're not going to put any weight on her today. So she took that fine. I'm going to pet her, reward her, let her know everything's okay. And again, I'm not going to cinch it up super tight. All I'm going to do is, like, we'll be having a rider come out to get ready for their lesson. In my opinion and my philosophy is we don't want to cinch it up too tight. We want them to walk the horse first, then cinch it up tight, and then we'll walk them again to loosen up in case there's any wrinkles underneath the girth. So now I'm just going to place the saddle on gently, right here like that. And she moved a little bit, but she didn't do anything bad. So now, we always put the girth and the stirrup, or the stirrup and the girth up. However you want to do it with your horse, go for it. But these guys get used a lot in a day, so we don't want these stirrups and the girth to hit against her the whole time. Now, I was in a bad position here. She could have stepped forward and stepped over me. She did very well, so I'm going to put that down. Again, some people just throw their stirrup and their girth over from the other side. I'm not like that. I'm going to place it down gently. I understand this girth is way too big for her, but I'm just going to use this saddle because we're just going to make it snug. I'm not going to make sure, we're not putting anyone on her back. So I'm just going to do it right here like this, pet her, because everything's good. Now, I read an article, I forget, this was years ago. Some people just reach right under with their right arm. I'm going to reach under with my left arm because if she decides to move, she's going to move to the side and she's going to run into me and she's going to push me that way. If I'm standing like this, she could step over and step on my toes. It doesn't matter either way. Years ago, I used to reach under with my right hand because I am right-handed, but it just makes a little bit more safe to be, or more sense to be safe by placing my body like this and reaching under with my left hand. But just a suggestion, if you use it, great. I find myself sometimes doing it the old way, so it's not a problem if you do it that way. Just might keep you a little bit on the safer side. So now, like I said, I'm not going to snug it up too much. I'm just going to make it tight so it's not slipping around on her. I'm going to pet her because she did very well there. Okay, so she's moving, so I'm just going to keep that pressure there, and I'm not going to discipline her. She moved around. Now I am going to pull her away from the wall because I don't like her against the wall. So I'm just going to ask her to move forward. So I'm going to readjust actually right here like this. So I'm not stepping on the lead rope and she's not stepping on the lead rope, but I am going to go back and apply pressure just to ask her to step away from the wall. Good girl. Walk one. Walk. So as soon as she steps away or forward, I'm going to release the pressure. So, well, good girl. So you see, as soon as she stepped, I released the pressure. So horses respond to pressure. If I put too much pressure on her, she's not going to understand. You ask, tell, and then yell. So now, with this being the first time, I am going super slow, but at the same time, you don't want to keep any secrets from the horse. Okay, so now I'm moving a little bit faster like I would if I was getting her tacked up to ride, but I never want to rush the process. Good girl. Now, I understand that this isn't tight. This is going to be tight enough for us just to maybe walk right over to the door, and then that's going to be it. So I'm just going to, actually, I'll walk her to the door and back to the saddle rack. That's my expectations, and then we'll see if we have any problems. So now I'm just going to connect with her, pet her, because she did very well. So I'm going to ask to walk, just right here like this, and then I'm going to take it nice and slow. So she sees Chief hang out underneath the platform. So he hangs out there a lot, but when it's time to get riders on, we do make it good girl, Misty. So there, she's balking a little bit, so I'm not pushing her forward. I'm letting her get used to this saddle. All right, again, the saddle isn't perfect, I get it, but at the same time, I'm not going to roach it around on her too much. I just want her to get accustomed to having something on her back. I just said that, but I do want to make sure it's up off her withers. So, again, she did puff up, so you see how loose that got. So I do need to make it a little bit tight. So, which is fine. Again, first time this has ever been on. So now I'm just going to ask her to walk. Good girl, Misty. So she stopped there. So I'm just applying pressure. I'm going to release the pressure as she steps forward. Walk. And I'm just going to keep on looking. Right there's my destination, right to letter A. So now if this becomes too much of a tug of war, I'm going to add pressure from the back, right like this. If I'm closer, right there. So good girls. So I didn't even touch her, so she took a deep breath, and she snorted, then she balked. So now I'm going to ask her to walk again. There we go. Good girl. Verbal cues. Now, I'm going to stop her here, so I'm going to back her up because she stopped, but I do want to make a point. When you're first working with a horse that you don't know or don't even trust, you want to move them away from you, in my opinion, because if I bring her towards me, that's more of a chance of her stepping on me. So I'm just going to reach underneath here. I'm going to ask her to walk right here. I'm going to step back aside, offer her the tap. There we go. So now she's doing fine. She's not pulling on me, she's just a little bit forward. So I'm just going to come back over here, and I'm going to ask her to whoa. Okay? So now she stopped and she danced a little bit, so I'm going to back her up 1 or 2 steps, actually 3 steps, like that. And now I'm going to get her to come up, and then I'm going to have her settle right by the saddle rack. Good girl. So that's fantastic to end on, in my opinion. We appreciate your feedback. Again, she just turned 3 on Sunday, so this is all she's going to do today. I don't need to rush her. We have other horses that we can use in the program. She is going to be our future, and she's standing just fine. I mean, I would like her underneath herself a little bit more, but again, I think she did a very good job right now. So now I'm just going to redo everything, or undo everything I did, and then I always do like to tell my riders not to just let this drop, because it's not going to hurt them, but it's not going to feel good if that metal piece hits him in the knee. So that's another thing that could make her sour to the saddle. So I'm going to pet her, I'm going to tell her to stand, walk across her nose, and then I'm going to put the saddle, the girth up, and then the stirrup. Again, if you have your own horse, you can just pull that saddle off, it doesn't matter. But in my opinion, I like to do it this way for the horse. So I always like to put my left hand down in that pad so it doesn't come up. So I'm going to pet her. She did very well. These are my treats right here in my hands. I don't carry treats in the field when I got the ride or anything like that. But I always have my hands with me, so that's my opinion. I very rarely give treats. Now the riders that we have here, more than welcome to give treats off of Frisbee so nobody gets their fingers bit. But right here, she's always going to come to me for attention and if she's doing the right thing. So, very good, Misty. First time with the saddle. Say hello to Mandy.